Hey y'all, it's your girl Nadia.
And it's me, Coach T.
And we are two average people.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for all the support, y'all. All the discussions online. If you missed it, check it out. Check out all the episodes. We have another clip for you today, and we really, really want to put our 2 cents and get your opinion. So let's just take a look.
Men who are not as healed.
Right.
This shit getting messy, bruh. Fellas, check me out. Let me put this precursor on this shit real quick. I'm all for manhood and masculinity, my nigga. But as a black man, the version of masculinity we learn is questionable, to say the least.
It is.
With that being said, we gonna
I want y'all clapping, like just agree.
With that being said, I think some not as healed men tend to ask for a position in a woman's life that they may not have had the necessary practice to feel efficiently. And so this is not to shit on those men, because I hate when we turn this into a man bashing thing, bro. Like, this is not the bash guys.
Absolutely.
I think that a lot of unhealed men are striving for this thing that we're taught to be, and they demand it before they actually reach it, because it's the only way they know how to validate themselves. I think a lot of men only know how to feel like a man when they're leading somebody. I think some men only know how to feel like a man when somebody actually is under their tutelage, under their guidance, under their protection. You feel me? A lot of men don't actually know themselves alone, like know themselves outside of their circumstance, know themselves outside of...
Okay, that, babe, is a little interesting, because especially toward the end where he was like, okay, men don't really like know themselves unless they have somebody following them. That's like, okay, if you look back into biblical times, it's kind of how you guys were built, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. But he's saying that on a deeper level, that though we as men all have that same drive, we're not all set up for that path to be successful.
Okay.
Especially if you have someone or a family in tow. We have to show up better, even if we have a hope of being able to lead somebody properly.
And so the argument that he's trying to make is, how do you do that, right? So you kind of programmed into this way of thinking as a man, right? As a protector, provider, all of these things, right? And so you only almost know how to be a man when someone is under you or following you, or when you're connected to someone, because if you aren't connected to someone, then what are you providing?
Yeah.
And what are you protecting?
Yeah.
And what are you, you know?
Yeah.
So is he trying to say that you need to learn how to provide and protect your peace, your inner peace first, before you step out there and provide and protect someone else?
And I think with a certain level of maturity, you kind of know that inherently. You know what I'm saying? I've heard people say that, especially in your late 20s, when you're trying to like start to settle down, like as a man, you should be able to maintain your own living, right? All the things that come with that. You should have something green in your house that you take care of, that's still alive when other people come by. And perhaps even some sort of a pet, something else that's alive.
I was thinking pet.
Yeah, because you need that thing because it teaches you how to do this successfully without, like, in order to be the man of a house, the husband and the father, it kind of takes practice, because so much of it is a new experience. So getting the plant, getting the pet are ways for you to kind of gear your mind to the thought process of thinking of something else other than yourself.
Interesting.
And once we get into that mindset, especially in relationships, we find ourselves in a place where now we're primed for it. I don't think there's anything like raising a child. Raising a puppy is not like raising a child.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's in the same direction.
Yeah.
And so that's ultimately that's kind of where I come down to.
Okay, so that's interesting. Like, I feel like it's a lot. It's interesting that you say you don't really know how to do it, because a lot of what you're taught, right, that's ingrained into you is things that people tell you need to do this.
Yes.
Like my mom would say things like, well, you need to clean your room because, no man don't want this, or, like they just tell you what to do until you actually are in a relationship with someone and you don't really know what that looks like. And so you are positioned to be the head of us, right?
Right.
Of everything. They're looking at you like, what are you doing, right?
Facts.
But how do you begin to even put those pieces together? Like he's saying in the clip, if you haven't done that for yourself, and I think that's the troubling part is you don't learn. It's almost like he's saying you don't learn how to do that unless you're in position with somebody else. But men haven't taken the time to do it for themselves.
Right.
To even, how do you do it? How do you do something that you need to do in position with somebody else, but you haven't
do for yourself?
But you haven't taken the time to do it for yourself,
or do it at a level that's adequate to actually meet that standard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like a woman's standard is definitely going to be here, but if a woman's standard is here, a guy's standard generally is like here. Yeah. Like we don't require as much.
Yeah.
We don't require luxury. We don't require those types of things. So I heard somebody say on the podcast, a guy's a very routine thing overall. He'll take the same route to work. He'll eat the same things every day for lunch and dinner. He'll wear the same clothes. He'll do the same things. He'll play the same video games. He's not going to venture too far off his own path. That's not necessarily a good thing. When he finds something to protect and value and validate and support, he finds purpose. Now that may be in his own dreams and his own goals or whatever the case may be, but it's when you find it in family, to me, that you really are hitting on the main aspects of what it is to be masculine.
That it's such an interesting, like if you really think about it, it's such an interesting thought process.
Yeah.
Because you're expected to do something with someone, but the only real way to effectively do it with someone is to be with someone, but also you need to figure it out for yourself first. But
which is why I think the most important thing in a relationship is grace, for that exact same reason.
Okay.
We need to give each other grace in everything we do, because you marry the person who you're giving grace to is easy.
Yeah.
Well, marry the person who earned it, but then give that person the grace, the easy grace. It should just come easy.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be abused, but giving grace should be easy.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I was thinking about when we were on our walk earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And, I brought it up outside, and I wanted to make sure I bring it up again today on our show, because I realized something, and that was one of the ways that I kind of recognized internally that I was like, yeah, this is that one for me, was when I realized that you have like a vulnerability, like something that is very precious to protect. And there's an aspect to you that just gives grace and leads with so much grace that there's something in me, in my masculine, that says, I need to protect this. Like the essence of what this is, I'd like to protect. Mm-hmm. I don't want anybody else to protect it, and I feel it needs protection.
Well, see, and I think that is what contributes to you finding that purpose within our relationship. Obviously, that's not your whole purpose for being, right?
Absolutely not. No.
But in our relationship, that desire to protect the vulnerability, the vulnerability inside of me as your spouse, is powerful. So what is it like to protect vulnerability? Like, what does that look like? Because you think of the word vulnerable, right? There's so many other adjectives that come with it, right? Some can say, oh, it's instability, or some can say fragility. Yes, that's a good one, right? Yeah. So the question is, you have this thing that's evolving, potentially, that's ever changing, but you have to protect that.
Yep.
And I don't think vulnerability is always bad. I think it does have a negative connotation, right? Because once some people can see vulnerability as weakness.
Right. And and from those people, your vulnerabilities I'd like to protect.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But in my protection of those vulnerabilities from those people, I want to enjoy the benefits of those vulnerabilities as well, including teaching me how to be more vulnerable in that way.
Right.
Because it's not as easy for me. And I always appreciate it when women can really understand that it's not as easy for men to be vulnerable, because it's not our place to do what you do. In the same way, it's not your place to do what we do. But in me is a little bit of feminine, in you is a little bit of masculine. So it's there. So acting like it's not there it's not a helpful part of the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know, protecting the feminine or protecting that vulnerability is, for me, easy. It feels natural to me. It feels very natural to me. It's something that, especially in you, I see in my mom. Like, my mom was that type of person who would give you the clothes off her back if it meant that you were going to be okay. But I watched a lot of my mom's people be blessed by her presence, and I watched her bless a lot of people and be blessed by a lot of people. But I've also watched her be abused by people very easily, because she's willing to really put up or shut up.
Yeah.
But the problem is, while you're ready to put up or shut up, a lot of other people are just ready to take from you without depositing anything back.
Right.
So, yeah.
Shout out to Mama Pat. Hi, Mama Pat.
Hi, Ma.
But yeah, it's like I hear what you're saying, and it's such a weird place, because even in the example that you gave with your mom, where she was very she had empathy and she gave so much of herself, it's like, so did she was somebody expected, like her man expected, to protect that vulnerability? Like, where does the responsibility come from me protecting myself, but also having someone protect my vulnerability, right? So, and I know, like, we're kind of going off, because a little bit on a bit of a tangent, but
not really. But
I also
I like it though.
I like that this has come up, because where do we draw the line of, okay, I'm responsible for me and the actions that I do, but you're also feel led to protect the parts of me that you so enjoy.
Yeah, because the parts of you that I so enjoy, especially in those vulnerable moments, in order for you to be that vulnerable, you kind of have to let go. Like, in order for you to protect yourself in that state, you can't shine as fully, because you have to kind of guard yourself a little bit. But you shine the brightest when you let go the most. When you let go, the more completely you let go, the brighter you shine. But if you let go, I gotta hold on.
Yeah.
Because I gotta hold you up in those moments. Yeah. And it's in those moments that there's a lot of benefits if you're willing to give that a chance.
Right.
But it's in that you see it. And I see it generationally too, because I even see it in my daughter. I look at her and I'm just like, no, I need to protect you. You're not gonna like my protection always. And I completely understand that.
Well, how much of that is parental instinct, like natural parental instinct to protect?
A lot of it is. But my thing is, I think, and I don't have a son, but I think if I did, I would worry less.
See,
because I can teach my son things to protect himself, but I also know his job isn't to shine. His job isn't to, when I say shine, I mean his job isn't to necessarily have to be that beacon. But in you, in my daughter, I see that there. So I feel the need to protect it. I don't know what else to call that, but that's how I feel it.
But I think that goes back to what he's saying is, if you had a son, you would be teaching him how to protect.
Yes, I would.
How to provide.
Yes.
But the connotation with that is for someone.
Well,
and so that really goes home to what he's saying is you're taught to provide and protect for someone. But when do you take that time to truly sit with yourself?
I think
to understand how best you are going to show, because the way you're going to provide and the way your brother's going to provide and your friend, obviously there's the physical protection.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But there's different levels of what that looks like because all men are different. And so you teaching your son to do all of these things, and this is where he was talking about how you've taught and it's ingrained in you, but it is someone. When you get a wife or a spouse or, something along those lines. It's that, and then that's the part that I think he's alluding to.
I think with boys, what I would tend to do is teach them the skills that they'll need to protect.
Yeah.
And then tell them to aim all those skills at himself. And when he finds a woman who makes him turn his attention from himself, that's the one you give that energy to.
Yeah.
Now, she still has to be vetted further than that, but no one else should even get that consideration until that point.
Right. But he has to even know how to do that.
Right.
Because he has to know himself.
He has to know himself.
Or he might have to date a few people to really know.
To really hammer it down. But the truth is,
as he gets older,
whoever you know, whoever you get to know, the soft skills and the hard skills to actually be able to make sure your woman is satisfied fully in every way we can make sure that that's the case, and protected fully in every way we can make sure that's the case. Those are skills, and you got to practice them, and you got to be good at them. And when the time comes, you got to be able to implement and execute. It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
From the masculine perspective, we always have that expectation of execution. Yeah. So I'm going to teach him the skills. I would teach him the skills and the soft skills and everything he needs to know, but who he aims that energy at and how intentionally he aims it at them is that's a personal choice.
It's a personal choice. And I really think this applies to both men and women, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I think when we grew up, it was very like, okay, you got to live this way, or you got to learn to do these things, because when you get married, ... Right? But I remember I was talking to my brother-in-law, Pastor Tori, shout out. He said, we're teaching our children to be good people first.
Right.
We're not teaching them to be good wives.
Or good husbands.
He only has daughters, but good wives.
True.
But in the sense that, or good husbands, or,
exactly.
He's teaching them to be good people. And that really sunk in with me. That really sank with me because.
Sunk in.
I'll be all right, y'all. That's sunk in because, I feel like the way we grew up, it was to prepare ourselves for this journey of marriage and love. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby and the baby carriage. Like, so up until that point, everything that I did had to be with the thought that you have to get married one day and you have to do that. But really, raising your children to be good people
is the end all be all.
To know themselves so they can attract good energy and good people.
Yeah.
That's the key. And I think that's kind of what he's saying is we're just prepared to be
good people.
We're prepared to be something. And a lot of that is for someone else, with someone else. And that's not a bad thing. But where do we learn to be us first before we get attached? So
tell you what,
men and women, I don't know, y'all. Okay, y'all know I could talk forever, right? But let me know what y'all think, because I feel him.
I feel because
he's coming from a man perspective.
What I appreciated is it was a conversation that wasn't all men are ...
Right.
It wasn't a conversation of all men are toxic.
Right.
Masculinity is toxic. Because that's we can't have that conversation in our community. We shouldn't even entertain it. If that's the type of energy you're on, miss me. Miss me.
We're not going. We don't need to jump there that fast.
Miss me.
It's deeper than that.
It's deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. Yes. Let's explore the depth.
Yeah.
Let's explore the depth.
I'm with you. I'm with you, babe. So yeah, all right, y'all. We're gonna wrap it up here. Let us know what you think. Please check out our last few episodes. They were fire. Subscribe, hit the bell. Like our daughter always says, do all the things. And we will catch you next time. Remember, we're better
together.